Welcome to the December 2023 edition of the Fuse Community Call. It doesn't seem like 10 minutes since we were sitting here last Christmas, but it's been a year already. We hope you guys are doing really well out there. It's really cool to see you all engaged in the future of Fuse Network. And if you're watching on YouTube, I'm ashamedly going to say it, smash that like button. So why we're here today, the Fuse Community Calls, these give us a chance to speak directly to our community and to hear more about what our community thinks of our plans as well. And moreover, it enables us to really have that direct communication line. So as always, these things are live streamed, and then you can watch them later and unpack any of the subjects we talk about. And you can always reach out to ask any more questions. So before we jump off today, let's introduce who we've got with us. How you doing, guys? Emma, how are you doing today?
I'm great. I'm all right, man. Thanks, Ian.
Good to hear. Good to hear. Mark, looking good. How you doing?
Great. Hi, everybody. Excellent.
Ronald?
Yeah, I'm doing great. Thank you for asking, Ian. Hi, everyone.
Cool, man. So we've got a full squad. Everybody's doing great. That's good to hear. All right, so we've warmed up a little bit. Now, I just want to warm us up a little bit more. So 2023 was a really important year for Fuse. It's really seen us kind of cement our role in the blockchain space as the most friendly and fitting blockchain solution for businesses that are looking to embrace Web3 payments and loyalty. And the team has changed a lot. For those who were watching last year, you'll see different members of the squad in here today. And the team has really swelled with some really experienced and dedicated people. And we've all got a clear passion for the goal of Fuse. And at the same time, the development team has swelled as well and has been ultra busy refactoring and securing the Fuse tech stack, which Mark is going to speak on during the call. So we'll get into that as well. But overall, the year's been packed with upgrades, community growth, product launches, beta launches, all sorts of things accompanied by a more aggressive go-to-market strategy. So what we're doing here is kind of talking about what we did over the year. But as we know, most people don't really enjoy talking about the past. We want to talk about the future as well. So we're going to outline what we're going to be getting up to in 2024 and on our mission, basically, to make Fuse the go-to blockchain for businesses that want to build apps to take Web3 payments and loyalty mainstream. And that's what we're here to talk about. So I want to start with, I think it's only right to start with Mark. And today, Mark, I think it was 2 days ago, released a very important announcement about a migration to Layer 2. And we will be collaborating with Polygon and using their CDK. So we had some really important questions, like almost immediately about this. So number one, Mark, tell us more about this collaboration. You know, why, how, and what are the benefits that we're gonna get from this collab?
So first of all, I think that Polygon is a great partner. I think a very strong technological partner, especially in the last 2-3 years. They acquired very big knowledge, very big, I would say, amount of IP, intellectual property around knowledge and experience with zero knowledge proofs. I think zero knowledge proofs are kind of the end game for a lot of blockchain solutions and blockchain networks. And when we talk about the end game, what's the end game? We want to be more scalable than Visa. And I think this technology, one of the biggest misconceptions that we can say about blockchain technology is that it's not scalable. I would say that it's actually scalable. I would say that probably it's not mature enough. It does multiple solutions. None of them is really used yet. So maybe there's more of a demand problem in the blockchain space than a scalability problem. Yeah. And also, I would say that this technology is very sexy. And when a technology is sexy, it means that it's not working yet. It's not ready yet. It's not mature yet. It's not yet battle tested. Yeah. It's not something that we think we need to. It's not something we need to put all of our solution tomorrow morning. It's going to take a period of, I think, something like 6 to 12 months. Yeah. We also spoke about the rollout, how it will look like. It will happen in stages. Yeah. And the important thing is that we will get. The end game is to get to a point where people can use Fuse in a way that is that basically is superior to any existing alternative solution. We want to show that blockchains are not only faster, they're not even comparable I don't want to be 15% faster than Visa, right? That's not the objective. Also, when we look at the crypto industry, those solutions take time to mature because we want to standardize. We don't just want to evolve. So we don't want to be referred as an L1 or an L2 because the end game is that people are not aware of. It's not monolithic anymore. So if blockchains are not monolithic, if they're becoming modular, you can't refer to them as an L1, an L2. I think we will get to a new level of discussion where we're talking about TPS, talking about privacy, we're talking about cost of the unit economics of a transaction. We'll talk about storage costs, about finality, about recurring payments, things that are interesting to our business, things that are interesting to our customers.
Yeah.
And I think in general, those are the real KPIs that we need to show to the payments industry, because the payment industry doesn't really care that we, invented another consensus mechanism.
Yeah.
Or that we're 15%, we created like a new BFT protocol that is 15% faster than Tendermint. I don't think anybody at Visa cares. What is important is that the businesses of the future can use this decentralized online solutions as an alternative to old pre-internet dated off-chain, offline solutions that are very expensive as well.
I really, really agree with what you're saying there. It's really solid, talking about these 15% increases in productivity. They're quite meaningless, aren't they? It's a really important point as well. And one thing I just want to draw on is Mark said at the beginning there is to manage the expectation around this migration as well. It's not happening tomorrow. That's very safe to say that. It's quite a long timeline involved here. And yeah, just to get that, to make that very clear as well.
Yeah, it's just important to note the first step will happen very fast. We expect in the next month to have a roll-up on top of Fuse that is supported by CDK technology, using Prover, Solvers, ZK Tech, so we can start experimenting. So it will happen very fast. The next steps will be something that we will announce, but I believe that in a few months we will start talking really about the end game, about the entire process. But the first step will happen very fast.
Yeah. Okay. So quite a lot to look forward to in the early start of next year there as well. So some of the questions that I was, I'm looking through the TG groups and other things as soon as we made this announcement, and some of the biggest trend questions I saw were, what happens to Fuse as a sort of layer one? People are asking, what happens to Fuse? Does it disappear? Try and explain this a little bit for people, Mark. I think people are getting quite confused about this.
Yeah, so I think there's a lot of products or projects that are similar to Polygon CDK, Ethereum 2.0, the vision of the Beacon chain with all the roll-ups around it, Cosmos and Tendermint with IBC. Another ecosystem is Ava. Another ecosystem is Polkadot. So there's about I would say 6-7 contenders, like really massive ecosystems that we considered, and we also compared, Fuse. If we want to use Optimism, how much the transaction cost will be impacted. If we're using this solution, so what would be the rent we need to pay to Ethereum, or what would be the cost we need to pay to Optimism? Everything in crypto, whether you want to rent security or you want to externalize the cost, you need to think about the tokenomics. You need to think about the business model behind the scenes. And try to create like a solution that is balanced. You don't just want it to be the cheapest blockchain. We saw a lot of attempts to create a really cheap blockchain. This is not the objective. We also don't want to create the fastest or the most decentralized blockchain. Businesses don't need this. They don't ask for it. They don't have the pain of give me like a faster blockchain. There's a lot of things that we considered. I think what we understand is that anything that won't bring us to all of our business objectives is not really helping. Everything that will make the network more expensive is not really a good solution for us. The reason we chose CDK is because it's a really modular approach. So we basically can integrate Fuse the same way it works today. The cost of the transaction would not be affected. So in terms of the validator set, they will just need to run a different node. In terms of Fuse as a fee, Fuse as a staking token, that will not change. The tokenomics of Fuse, for instance, naturally will need to change, but not because of the CDK. CDK just let you integrate the Fuse token into your chain, into your ecosystem. The idea of using Validium, Polygon's technology for the consensus, is a really powerful aspect of using the CDK, which basically let us replicate our validator setup on the Polygon system. The connection to the Polygon system will also allow us improved bridging experience, so instant bridging across chains. It will also connect us to more liquidity, because interchange liquidity is really one of the holy grails of being a part of an ecosystem like Polygon or Cosmos or any other one of those competitors. So we don't want Fuse to be an island separated from the world. On the vice versa, we want maximum openness, minimal fees, let everybody in and out as they want. This is a true financial garden. And what we realized, if you just try to close it and separate it from the world and just say we're the cheapest, and create like this closed garden and charge rent, nobody will use you. The only way to create usage with Fuse is to let everybody come and go as they please. So that's really how I see us protecting our business model.
Okay. I mean, I'm just looking at the questions that we had that I'm keeping for the end here, and some of that you've answered some of those questions about cross-chain liquidity, the gas fees, and Fuse being used as the token. So for all those guys who asked those questions, Mark's covered that there. So, and some of the other stuff around how long it'll take as well. So we'll jump into those. Thank you, Mark, for that. It's a really big announcement, and I really wanted to dive in a bit deeper. A lot of more questions will come. And as you said at the beginning, this is a process, and we will be constantly updating the community about where we are on this process as well. Okay, so we've got two more guys in the call, and I want to pull them in. E, how you doing, man? You good today? Oh, I think you're on silent, sir.
Yes, I am. I'm great, man.
There he
Sorry
is.
about that.
All right, cool. So E has, well, since joining, you know, I work with you all the time, and this is what it's kind of like my personal opinion. We've ramped up our efforts massively, locally and globally. And I really want you, E, to tell the community out there, the Fuse community of the past and the new guys as well, how do you see the landscape for Fuse Network? And in regards to marketing and the kind of campaign management, how are you planning? What's in your mind to grow our reach and awareness and on our mission to be this friendly blockchain for businesses? You know, what sort of initiatives can people expect to see next year? And tell us more.
Yeah.
What do you think about Fuse and where we're headed, man?
Yeah, man. I love the fact that Fuse is building something really phenomenal. All right. If people know me a lot, that I'm always a part of a project that kind of like very promising, and I see a lot of huge potential with Fuse. With the fact that we just collaborated with Polygon is just one of many things that's looking to happen in the next year. Joining Fuse a few months ago, I think the goal for me was to really start from the community and build it from ground up. All right. The blockchain space, the crypto space is all about the community and what you can actually build for people to use, you know, from the business side, from the developer side, from the ordinary user side. All right. I've been in this space for the last 4 years professionally, and I've seen what the community can do for a project, for a brand, for a crypto exchange, for a blockchain company. All right, so we're pretty much kicked off for the ambassador program just to get people involved with what Fuse is doing, and also It's more like global thinking, local implementation. And I think in 2024 we're going to see more of that across the world. We have a very big, robust plan in terms of engaging users across the world, and also developers and also businesses as well. Most recently, we launched the Web3 Grant Program, which is something that I think as I think if you're involved in the space, you would have seen it around. We This is purely our commitment to reach out to Web3 businesses, Web3 startups that are looking to find their foot in the industry. Also, this is our own way of saying we're here to help you, and we're going large on that in 2024. And also, just a a tip of the iceberg. We're trying to launch we're going to be having a hackathon. I don't know if I'm okay to announce
Said it
that.
now,
It's giving a little alpha.
So it's the tip of the iceberg, right? This is part of some of the many things that we're going to be doing next year. The hackathon and also a lot of meet and greets. You get to meet with the Fuse team, and we're going to be exploring every corner of the world. Getting the message out there. I think this is just the short things I have to say, but look out for more and more things.
More coming, right?
From Fuse in the community side and the business side.
Cool. Thank you, E. I think, yeah, the hackathon alpha is really good as well. Like, and as soon as we released the grants program, people were actually saying, this should be complemented with a hackathon. Don't worry, guys. We were thinking about that. It's still in the planning. So get ready for that. That'll be coming next year sometime. All right. Thank you, E. Nice one, man. There's a bunch of questions here for you as well. I'll pull them out at the end. So we'll get into that as well.
Yeah.
Mr. Tato, how you doing?
Very good. Very good.
Today?
Thanks for asking. Yeah, amazing.
All right. So Ronald is ecosystem manager of Fuse, and Ronald, you've been here since June now, nearly 7
July.
July.
Yeah, 6 months. Mm-hmm.
Okay. So Ronald, tell us, we invest a lot of time into our ecosystem, and we have done since the beginning for the last 3-4 years. And what we're trying there to do is create this tailored marketplace of solutions for businesses and the more hardcore devs that can find everything they need as well to build great apps on the blockchain. But can you first touch on some of the integrations that we've had since you joined, some of the partnerships we've secured lately? What do they do for Fuse? And then secondly, I think the community is really eager to hear what's coming, who you've been talking to, what are you working on, man?
Yeah, thank you for that. Yeah, definitely there are many interesting partnerships that we've been working on in the past 6 months. For sure, some of them is Layer 0, allowing us to have a more communicated ecosystem as well with other chains. The same goes with all things related to account abstraction. We've been working a lot on this aspect, improving the UX, specifically for Web2 businesses, right? I mean, at the end of the day, those are the ones who needs better UX and easy access to this beautiful technology. That being said, we've been working with EtherSpot, Pimlico on the infrastructure level. So those two are allowing us to have a better kind of a system related to paymasters, bundling services. So that's great to have, and I know it's gonna definitely bring a lot more usage into our stack, right? That being said, we also have been working with all sorts of projects in different verticals. There's one interesting protocol that I'm personally working with that it's called Tria. Essentially, these guys are allowing as well easy access, social logins into Fuse. Essentially, working with another interesting project as well, which is the first game coming on Fuse. So again, just sharing some alpha as well. This is a new vertical. I know many other ecosystems are working a lot on all things gaming. We know these can definitely boost ecosystems adoption and usage, right, as on one of those use cases. So this is a definitely interesting game that I definitely believe all the community should pay attention to and play with, which is completely different with everything else related to this sort of a play to earn model. So that's what we think, right? Everything is evolving. The infrastructure that we've been building, all the products that we release are part of that sort of a combination of usage, right? Specifically for Web2 businesses. And again, there are all too many fronts. One of them is DeFi as well. This is one of the main areas that we'd like to focus a lot on starting in Q1. But in overall, we know that the pipeline looks very healthy. We have all different submissions, a lot of submissions actually in the ecosystem grant program as well. So it's a very tough decision to make what could be the most impactful projects to bring on Fuse. But again, there are many on final stages of integration as well. We have different sort of analytics platforms that we're considering in order to bring more on-chain visibility of what's happening behind the scenes on the Fuse side. We're improving also our Explorer. We have a rebranded Explorer on Fuse. We're working with 2 different protocols as well that are bringing a more kind of a readable language understanding of those explorers, right? Many explorers out there are quite complicated for non-crypto users to fully understand. So making that as simple as possible as well. I would say that also there are all the side related to listings. We've been in conversation with tier 1 exchanges, centralized exchanges. I know the community is also kind of interested in these sort of announcements. I'm pretty sure we will get there very soon, probably in Q1. We're putting all the effort there as well. But again, all the communities go to the DeFi. We know the next year is very promising. All different areas happening at same time, and all obviously market conditions are on our side. So we're very excited about what's coming next.
Nice. And there was a couple of smaller integrations, perhaps, that they kind of link in with Ease work as well. We partnered up with some companies, Tascon and Race, and another couple, and these were more to do with the community building side, right?
Yeah, absolutely. Those community platforms definitely help us grow our engagement and community. Actually, one of them is Push Protocol. Essentially, that will allow us as well to have better communication, on-chain communication with our token holders and have them more engaged with everything that is happening on the Fuse side. So yeah, Tascon is one of them. Interact is another one that we've saw that is a very nice solution for us to kind of understand what's happening on those campaigns, tailor specific campaigns even to power users on Fuse, because we know we have a very loyal community out there.
Yeah, man, for sure. And I think if anybody's listening to this, interested in launching or working on a project, please do reach out to Ronald. As he said there, we're talking about GameFi, we're talking about DeFi, and at the beginning, we're talking about Web3 payments and loyalty. At the end of the day, it is a blockchain that is suitable for many applications. So, we're not trying to pigeonhole here. So when you see these different projects, it's important to see that variety as well.
Well, I also want to add something small on top of what Ronald said, that in 2023, we're about to go in a new bull run. The market seems to be switching to a new cycle, and that's at least there's the feeling I felt in the DeFi summer, July 2020, that people start to feel again. And I think what brought us growth in the past, we need to understand, will not bring us growth in the future. It's not about just talking about the old narratives, L1, L2. I think building a fast blockchain is a different skill set than bringing usage to that blockchain. And I think we can bring usage to the CDK technology, because we really believe that this architecture is a little bit more future-proof, more than the roll-up architecture that we see today, and definitely more better than the monolithic architecture that we had in the past. So we are confident that CDK is a technology that can bring us on par with Visa, and we can bring the usage, can bring that usage type. If you notice on the Fuse analytics, we grew something like double-fold in the last 6 months in daily active accounts, and specifically daily transactions. And if you look at other networks, it's a bigger number. And I think that says everything, that in the end of the day, it's not about faking it. It's about generating actual usage for this technology. So this is what basically what Ronald and Emma are pushing.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. Thanks for that, Mark. All right, guys, I'm going to jump into some questions because we've got some pretty cool questions here, some very easy ones. So I'll put them up on the screen. Whoever wants to jump in and answer that, please feel free. Some of them are quite specific, but here we go. So the first one, will we have new product integrations in the Fuse ecosystem? Ronald, I'm pretty sure that one's for you, sir. I think you've kind of answered that, but put his mind at rest.
Oh yeah, definitely. I mean, obviously there are more products integrations in different aspects, but we also have been working internally on the products that we release, such as the Fusebox and the console. And we see this as a starting point for all different functionalities and features to be added on those, right? At the end of the day, what we want here is to have all the different pieces that allow Web2 businesses to build on top of Fuse. And that also applies for all things Web3 projects, right? But again, I don't want to kind of spoil too much, but I do have a very nice and healthy pipeline that we're working on, and it's definitely going to be interesting in the Q1 and what comes next on 2024.
Yeah, man, it was a good question. Like they want to know, Ronald, they want to know, but we can't tell them everything, can we? All right, same question there. Okay, here we go. Mark, I think you can deal with this.
The answer is no.
Perfect.
Absolutely not. The whole point is, just like with, I don't know if anybody knew about it, but the network is always upgrading. Like we switched from Parity to Open Ethereum to Nethermind. This is a big upgrade. I'm not saying it's a small upgrade, just like we had, but Ethereum had big upgrades. Did you had to move your tokens? No. So let's continue.
That's that. All right, thank you. And now we have a question from Rob Brown. How do the tokenomics change with the move to the CDK, Mark? Potentially.
So actually, the tokenomics will change before the move to CDK. So in the next quarter or two, we're going to do a series of votes. Some of them will be on-chain, some of them will be off-chain. There would be a lot of discussions about things that we already agreed, but we need to finalize and we need the validators to vote. So things like removing the inflation over time, basically moving Fuse to a deflationary model by burning fees. That's another vote. There's the jailing issues that are involved with the consensus contract and tokenomics that we need to clean the table, basically, of those topics. There's general EVM upgrades that we need to introduce. There's a roll-up and fee update that we need to introduce. So there's a lot of preparation work. The tokenomics will not change after we move to CDK. It would need to change before.
All right. Okay. Thank you, Rob. Thank you for that question. Let's just throw up the next.
But everything I said, we will publish in the next few weeks. It's really starting from the validator group, which needs to be on top of things.
I kind of like this question, and this person's asking us, it's like our opinion, I guess, or what's most important to us is what are you most proud of from 2023, and in terms of products, partnerships. I mean, I've got my suggestions, but Mark, what are you most proud of from 2023 that we've got out the door, and that, yeah.
Well, I think last year we didn't do anything in Africa, and now we have a lot of, I would say, boots on the ground with projects, operators. Some of them are already out. Some of them are still in the oven baking. Like, for instance, Sanduk. Did we announce Sanduk? I don't think so. Okay, so we have an interesting operator in Kenya about to launch operations. I think Africa is exceptionally cool because of the timing, and also it works very, very different than the rest of the world. Like, people can deposit money with SMSs, almost with no KYC. The KYC is when they withdraw, exactly the opposite than the rest of the world. A lot of people have smartphones. We have Emmanuel joining, which is a big reinforcement in the African market. We're also looking at working maybe in more African exchanges. Anyway, it's a good ecosystem. It's very close to us. And I think it's all recent developments. It's all in the past year.
Maybe you want to add to that point on Africa there a little bit. You've got a lot more experience on the ground there than any of us, I believe.
Yeah, so Africa is a quite dynamic market, right? When it comes to the blockchain and crypto space, and it's one market that's very, I don't say reactionary, but they're always willing to learn. They're always willing to be a part of a successful project, and also an average Nigerian, for example, or Kenyan or South African, right, are very well equipped, at least with basic knowledge about crypto and blockchain. So, which is what we're seeing right now. And there's a lot of talented individuals actually building in the space that they need some sort of support, and they need some sort of support in with what they're doing. And I think this is what Fuse is largely going to be doing going forward. And we're going to see more projects come out of Africa. Speaking about Africa, for example, there are just three countries that actually stand out in terms of crypto, which is Nigeria, Kenya, and South Africa, and some other francophone countries. And we're going to be exploring more in terms of collaboration, integrations, and working with potential partners there as well. Yep.
Excellent, man. Lots of potential. I was actually reading about Africa's GDP figures the other week, and it's surprisingly low comparative to the Western world. The potential over there is absolutely huge, right? It's amazing. Okay, cool, guys. So they're the questions that popped up on our YouTube. So I've gone through those. We also had some questions fired into my Telegram. So just give me 1 second. Will the move to CDK reduce gas fees? Could we reduce gas fees anymore, Mark? I think it would be pretty hard to make them any lower, wouldn't
it? So first of all, gas fees should not be lower than they are now. I don't think it's a popular decision, but a popular statement. But gas fees, low gas fees is not a good thing. High gas fees is not a good thing. I don't think we reached the economy of scale to understand where is the sweet spot. So we're thinking, oh, 30 cents, that's really cheap. I don't think it's cheap. On Fuse, you can do 1,000 transactions for $1. That's cheap. You want it cheaper? We will get a lot of spam. So blockchains need to have a fee that is high enough so they won't spam you, but is low enough so they won't fork you. And people need to understand that there's a cost structure, especially when we're looking at operators in Africa. We need to make it economically viable. And if it's economically viable in Africa, it's economically viable everywhere. And I think the way that American small businesses pay 3% of their revenue to Stripe or Square or PayPal does not make any sense.
No.
McDonald's is paying less fees than an SMB. Doesn't make any sense.
No, you're right. I think it's a question that pops up quite often, isn't it? It comes from different levels of understanding and different takes on the blockchain and what people do, whether they're traders or, Okay.
Yeah. By the way, Royal, I see here in the chat, wrote about the security token network coming to Fuse. So that's also something we didn't really talk about yet, but in the pipeline.
Okay. So much alpha getting thrown around in this call. Who knew? Okay, so we've covered, somebody asked about geographic locations. E, do you want to touch on that again? We did discuss this the other day on our other call, but geographic locations, targeting in regards to marketing for Fuse, we say global, any specific areas?
So I think we're going to be having a lot of touch point footprints across at least the key market for us is one, I don't want to say Africa, but Africa first, then UAE, which is United Arab Emirates, and we're looking at going deep into Europe as well, and Southeast Asia, which is APAC, right? And I think the North American market as well. Like most of the things that Ronald mentioned, from next year, we're going to be announcing some projects that we're working with in North America, Canada, for example. I don't want to mention their name till we announce them. The goal basically is to leave Fuse and blueprint and touchprint across projects across the world. Expand the ecosystem and bring in more people to compute on Fuse blockchain. Yep.
I want to add something else. I think there's a very important market that we missed here, Emma, which is Latin America. We've been there. Yeah, I mean, we were there on the Bitcoin, which is one of the biggest conferences in Argentina. I'm actually from Argentina, so this is one of those markets that I'm definitely interested in targeting and touching point, as you mentioned. Also because those hyperinflationary countries, they're looking for all sort of hedge into those inflations. And this is something that I personally experienced. There are many adoption in Argentina and usage, as well as very good, well-known projects out there that we're already in conversation with. So this is one of those targets, kind of regions that we're aiming on Q4. We actually launched the ambassador program on Latin America. So there are many things happening there. We already started working with all sort of kind of media outlets, just to spread out the word and looking for the best, for at least a new kind of a success story on the operator side of things as well. So I wanted to add that.
I can add something small that Fuse exists 4.5 years, and we see those geographies as a long-term investment. We never had the capacity or the resources to push in every country our marketing efforts. But when we did it in Asia, it took time, but we got fruits. When we did it in Europe, it took time, we got fruits, and I'm sure that Africa and South and Latin America is a great investment.
Yeah.
So that's answering the question about geography, locations, and where we're headed there. And that also goes into the content that we create. Translations. It's not as simple as just connecting with people in different geographical areas as well. So this next question, I really like this. Okay, excluding grants and funding, what support can Fuse offer to projects building on FuseNet? Do you offer any technical help, any marketing, any ecosystem sort of introductions?
Ronald, that's an amazing question.
It's a really good question, right? Ronald, do you want to take that? Or Mark, do you want to chip on that?
I can. Yeah, we can both go. Definitely, our ecosystem was thought in a way that we have interesting partnerships and connections that allows any new project jumping on Fuse or already existing projects to leverage this ecosystem. That's why we rebranded our ecosystem page. We're adding interesting features as well, so other potential projects and existing projects can leverage and improve their businesses and solutions. So yeah, definitely, there are many ways for us to contribute. Not only on the grant side, but also on the technical side as well. But Mark, if you want to expand on this, all yours.
Yeah. So I think one thing that I'm telling the team that we shouldn't invest both our time and our money. So we try not to do both those things. But when we have projects that need our assistance, we usually do very drastic measures, including, basically jumping on dailies with them. We have a project in a few months in February, Mystic Valley. You should all buy tickets. It's in Thailand. It's going to be Fuse based. So for instance, right now we're doing stress tests for their system to make sure that everything will work. At this point in time, we want to show that our projects work. We want to show that they work at scale, that they work with high stress, with thousands of people clicking on the same button, and the blockchain technology can be reliable, which I think this is what businesses are looking for. Thanks, Ian. Perfect. So the festival is going to be in Thailand in 2 months. I think it's 2nd of February, something like that. It doesn't cost a lot, and it's going to be very, very interesting project. It's a yearly festival. It's going to be a big production this year.
Yeah, the website was there for you guys. Check it out. And as Mark says, it's completely powered by Fuse. And as he says, we're doing the stress testing right now. So this is a great real world example of payments. And one of the coolest things for Mystic Valley is I think that they're very low investment in hardware, software, POS devices is basically nil, which is an amazing thing for an organizer.
And it's gonna be literally in the jungle. Like there's not going to be they're going to bring 3G Wi-Fi with them. No visa is gonna be there.
Visa-free festival. Love that. All right. Okay. I've got a question here about cross-chain liquidity. Mark, I'm going to put this onto you. This is something that people are a bit they just don't understand it, basically. So the question goes, how does Polygon CDK cross-chain liquidity help Fuse? Do we share liquidity across chains? Is it just easier to move around? How much liquidity is in the CDK at present? 3 questions, but I think
so let's start from the last question. CDK is just a framework. It's abbreviation of chain development kit. It's an SDK. It's not really It's like a tool, right? So the question is how this tool helps bridges. So it helps basically by making it more friendly, improves UX. Right now, bridges are slow. Zero knowledge proofs, if you look at all the roadmaps, basically all projects are pushing towards that direction, which we feel that Polygon is the most mature ecosystem for ZK. Why ZK is important for bridges? It's just better UX, better experience. Instead of waiting half an hour or sometimes more when you try to bridge across chains, imagine it's instant. Tack, tack, you're moving between different blockchains. And the CDK network as a liquidity network is in development. So it's not something that we can talk about in terms of liquidity. Again, if you look at the announcement, the goal is to move to that technology in a period of several months. And if you look at the Polygon roadmap, the interoperability layer and the ZK bridges is something that they're about to push out. And if somebody's familiar here with Cosmos IBC, with other solutions, we're talking about similar concepts. It means that our bridge will not be operated by centralized multisig. That's a huge improvement. It means that we'll never have shortages of liquidity, of moving specific tokens on specific directions. So unified liquidity and instant bridging. I don't think those parameters exist anywhere right now in any ecosystem. So I would say that upgrading our bridge to CDK or something equivalent is a must. It's not an optional thing.
Okay, thank you, Mark. That is one question that's been asked a lot, and there's lots of nuances to that. And I put up the link there as well. We announced the integration with Polygon, and we also have an article there about explaining what is the Polygon CDK. So for anyone who just doesn't get it, check that out. Try and get your head around it, or any questions, give us a shout. All right, guys, we're getting to the end of the call, but there's a question here, and I love this one even more than all the other ones. Okay, and it's for all of us individually. So no pressure. What is one thing? What one thing does each team member in this call want to see for Fuse in 2024? I'll go first, give you a chance to think. I would love to see, as an advocate of Fuse, I've been watching Fuse for nearly 4 years, maybe 3 now. Yeah. And for me, I want to see Fuse get the recognition it deserves for the job that it's doing in the space that we are doing it in. We are not just any other blockchain. And I really get annoyed with the fact that we're kind of tired like that sometimes. And now with the new team members on board and the way that we're headed in the marketing direction, I think that's going to be very, very possible. And that's what I want to see. I want to see us getting more recognition. Who's next? Gave you quite a long time to think there, guys.
Yeah. I think, let me just go next. So I think from my side, I want to see, like, I'm trying to get Fuse to get a TVL of 4x, right? Our token being among at least top 20 token for the end of the year, and also token holders, and also taking our sister company, which is Voltage, to where it needs to be and get the recognition it deserves. More reward use cases for what we're trying to build in Fuse, leveraging on businesses and developers to actually build on Fuse, and also grow the community 20x. That's just my own personal goal that I'm actually working towards step by step on a daily basis. Yep.
Amazing. Mark?
So I think that like for some reason the first thing that popped up in my head is lending, but that's not my answer. I was wondering where's the guy that asks when
he's here. Do you want me to ask?
He's here.
Yeah.
So I think he will be happy, but let's just put it aside. Right now we have we didn't yet release it, but it's almost ready. It's currently in testing. We have a way for people to onboard to Fuse and pay for the services in one place and basically get access to the entire middleware with one monthly cost. So the whole point of Fuse is to create this really friendly pricing model. Instead of paying fees, and it's really not business friendly. You don't know how much you're gonna pay. You don't know how much it will cost next month. I want to create this simple cost structure, which is $10 a month, that will give you a free tier, just like with any cloud provider, up to a certain quota, a certain amount of transactions a month, several thousand transactions. It would be free, and above that quota, you will be paying $10 a month. You asked what I want to see in this year. It's not wishful thinking for me. It's the objective. To see this as I see this as our main growth driver. If people usually pay for block space in blockchains, this is how I want people to pay for the block space on Fuse. And I think what we're going to show in Q1, and you guys and girls are all going to see this, because we're a blockchain, it's all public, you'll see how much percentage of our transactions is coming from that middleware. In the beginning, it's going to be 5 to 10%, but I see this as our growth driver. I see this is where the revenue will come from. This is where the demand will come from. And I think by the end of the year, this would be the majority. I hope this would be the majority of transactions on our blockchain. For a public blockchain, we can't tell people, how to use it. They can use it however they want. But we prefer to give them nice pricing, a good business model, and they would prefer to use it like that. That's the goal.
Okay. Some pretty big goals for next year. Ronald, what do you want to add to this?
Yeah, I definitely agree with your vision, Ian. I think Fuse deserves the recognition of being a clear blockchain with a clear direction. Different other ecosystem doesn't have that. And if you go deeper into those, you might see that actually Fuse stand out on the clear vision and direction on the entire company. So that being said, I think opening new markets, as I mentioned before, I think LATAM has a lot of potentials. This is something that I will definitely want to see in next year. And I personally love games. So all the GameFi vertical, I think, is also that I've been also working a lot. Plus DeFi. Again, on the ecosystem side, there are many things, but I will say I will keep it short on those two. And yeah, I think there's a very bright future ahead.
Okay.
Yep.
Awesome.
Yep.
All right, thank you guys. And I really just want to say thank you for the questions that we got today live and the questions that we've had sent in over the week. Some really good questions there, guys. Thank you very, very much. And thank you to you gentlemen too. It's been a nice call. I think we've done a good job of outlining everything we worked on and where we want to go for next year. I don't think anybody should be unclear about what we're trying to achieve here, to be honest. So that is it for 2023 almost. So I just want to wish everyone a Merry Christmas out there in the Fuse world. Guys, anything to add lastly before we shut down?
I don't know. I think we
just watch out for Fuse and hold Fuse token.
Right. I only will add Merry Christmas, everybody, and I hope we get good news from the Good Dollar community as well, and trying to see if we can help. Happy shout out to all the Good Dollar holders and members. I really hope that you have patience in the next few months, because I feel like it's not the last time we're hearing from Good Dollar.
No, thank you for acknowledging that, Mark. I totally didn't think of that today. So yeah, good point. Very good point. And for those of you who don't know what's happened there, just go and read up on that. There's been an incident with Good Dollar. Okay, guys, thank you so much for your time. Thank you to the community for all your time all year. We'll be back next year. I'll be back with these guys, and yeah, we'll have a lot more alpha to throw at you. So thank you once again. Take care, everybody. See you soon.
All right.
Thank you.
Thank you. Bye.